key and knife there.
Oh yeah,
Don't let me forget it.
I won't. Hold on one
Oh.
second.
Is this it?
Yeah, oh, yeah, we can put the plate back.
Run your hot.
Still out.
What's that? Okay, Ron. 31. All right, looks like we have a quorum. Let's go ahead and get started for the July 8th meeting for the Resource Conservation Commission. First thing, call to order. Kim, will you be timekeeper for us tonight?
Sure.
Appreciate it, thank you. And I don't think we have anybody in the public appearance wanting to present tonight. Item 2 on the agenda. Item 1 to 3 on the agenda, approval of minutes of the draft minutes from June 10th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
I'll move approval.
Okay. Approved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any seconds? Discussion?
4B is not complete.
Yeah, placeholders for the moved and seconded for resolution R9024.
Say that again.
Item 4B,
B.
yeah, resolution R9024, says motion by blank, seconded by blank.
Got it. Checking Chris's notes.
And then in 4C,
Chris doesn't have it in his
Checking the
notes.
notes.
in 4C for resolution R9124, it says motion by Jetser, second by Chris, to approve resolution R9024 instead of R91.
Needs to be corrected. Thank you, Bill.
I have a question on the minutes. I noticed the ones that have been posted as final, when we all vote, we do voice vote, but everybody votes for it. Then on the ones that are posted on the website, it lists all the people that voted for it, so all 7 members will be list. Is that something, a new requirement? Because it says that it was approved by a voice vote.
I'd have to check with Phil on that. He usually puts them together.
Okay.
So but you're saying all 7, like all 7 members of the commission, or all 7 people who
Their
were
last
actually
names are-
present?
No, all 7 members of the commission, and everybody voted for it, all their last names are listed.
Even if they weren't present at the meeting?
Well, no, normally we just say motion passed unanimously, or motion was approved by a voice vote. It doesn't list the individuals because we all voted for it, so why are we doing that? I'm just curious.
Interesting.
So you're suggesting a change should be made there then?
I'm just wondering why that started.
Yeah, I can ask why he decided to list everyone's names versus say unanimously. I don't know.
Okay, any other further discussion on the draft meeting minutes? If not, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? None opposed? Meeting minutes approved. On the item number 4, new business, a presentation by Sean Platt on Next Tracks Recycling Challenge.
Sure. Where would you like that?
Did you want to introduce Sean?
Yeah, I can just introduce it quick. Sean is here representing the Fitchburg Lions Club.
Okay.
And he's got some information for us on this recycling challenge. It's called the Next Tracks Recycling Challenge. And yeah, Sean, take it away.
Well, good evening and thank you. Good to see many of you I know. Sean Paff, 5843 Schumann Drive in Fitchburg. It's good to be back at City Hall. I reached out a few weeks back to Ben and my good friend Kim, who I knew was always involved in the RCC, but it's good to see many of you still involved in that. As you mentioned, I am president of the Fitchburg Lions Club, and we have a mighty club. We have about 20 members. About 8 or 10 of us are really active. And just on a side note, the Lions Club, as you may know, is an organization that was founded more than 100 years ago for sight. Helen Keller was kind of the inspiration for that group. The Lions Club has a lot of tenets that it does. 6 tenets, one of them given back to the community, sight. But one that I really found it to be interested in is sustainability. And Fitchburg, as you guys have well done, and I know as my time as mayor, we did great work and continue to do in this city is commitment to sustainability. And my friend Kim inspired me when I read her wonderful column in the Fitchburg Star. Sorry, I spilled something on it, but it did mean a lot to me. And so as the Fitchburg Lions Club, you've maybe seen us at the concerts in the park, serving beer. Thank you for purchasing that, or that helps us give back to the community. We also serve at the Agora Farmers Market as well, Strawberry Fest recently. And we give back to the community in a lot of ways, donations to the Maroon Area Needs Network, Lions causes that are statewide, focused on site and things like that. But our next goal, we want to continue to give those dollars out to our community as well as Lions goals to give to our community through sustainability. So Kim's column combined with what the new district governor out of Sun Prairie chapter has really charged our local district, the Madison area district, to get involved in sustainability. So this next Trex challenge is something that if you see in your packet, McFarland Lions have done, Fort Atkinson Lions have done, and I feel it just made a lot of sense for us in Fitchburg. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I figured I would reach out to City Hall to see if there's ways to collaborate, because I know there's a lot of things going on. Yes, Bill, you're right, there are things at Pick and Save already, and I'll talk about how Pick and Save is going to be part of this program. And so if we as Lions can get involved giving back to our community, the goal is to sign up. We would weigh it. I'm going to work with Ben on that a little bit if you guys give some guidance here, direction, to weigh the different products. We'll talk about that in a second. If we collect 1,000 pounds of this over the next year, from July 1 of 2024 to July 1 of 2025, we as a Lions Club get to donate a park bench made out of this material to a park in the city. And I think that's something that we as a club really would like to do, besides the obvious of sustainability, recycling, all of those good things. As you may know from the McKee Park, there's a big lion's mouth that's open there. We gave that drinking fountain to the park about 7-8 years ago. Really enjoy being visible in the community like that. So I guess my goal tonight is to come to you to fill you in what this is, and you guys are all smart on this stuff. But this is just little old Sean and Monica's house. No children in the home. Yes, we were home probably too much with each other this weekend. We had a wonderful staycation. We probably saw a little too much of each other. But anyway, my wife would say that more than me. But this is just a little bit of the stuff we've captured with no kids. Obviously, Costco, Quick Trip, can't go without Amazon. The wife likes iced tea. I did some grocery shopping. So what are we going to do with this? And so I see this as a win-win. And again, Kim has always been a good friend, a mentor to me on these things. I relied on her a lot when I was mayor on some of this stuff. And I just think this is the right thing to do. And so what I'm asking for you, and Ben, I don't want to get ahead of you or Kim, because I met with these two on June 26th. Great meeting, thank you for that. And we would like to put up one of these thing here. Move camera over there, please. Thank you. We would like to do this at City Hall and at the library, if possible. And I'll defer to the city team to get sign off on all that kind of stuff. And what would that be? We could work together on networking, marketing. Selfishly, I don't say that for me, but for the Lions Club, we would like to put our brand on that, because that's kind of what we're trying to do here. But also, it's just a win-win. I think you know this. And so we would like to work with you. I promise I won't take much of Ben's time, but I may need his help weighing some of this stuff, maybe every 6 weeks or something. So I'm going to stop here in a second. Let me talk about Pick and Save. Yes, Alder Jetser, you are correct. Pick and Save does have 3 of those bins out front, or 2 of those bins. They were more than welcome to have another bin with the Fitchburg Lions. I don't think they're getting stuff like this.
No.
Is that correct, Diane?
No.
Does that even work? Is that stuff real? We can collect that too, right?
I've always dumped off like all my plastic bags there.
Just know.
I've never known what actually happens to them, so it'd be comforting to know that I could put something here and
Correct.
and understand that it's actually gonna be recycled.
So Diana's, you always keep me honest, Diana, I love that about you. So let's go into your packet, because there is stuff that's acceptable. And Ben, you found this on the next track. So these are the kind of things we're hoping to capture. It was always my job as a kid. I grew up on a farm in western Wisconsin to carry the dang salt bags down to the old crickety attic with a stone thing built in 1895. And I wasn't a weak kid, but I wasn't the strongest kid in the world, but I had to carry these bags down. So I'm still the salt guy, understandably, at my house. It's a little easier stairs to get it down. I don't know what to do with these salt bags. Terrible. I mean, I use 2 of them a month, I think. People use more. Case overwrap, we just talked about. I just threw one of those in the bags. The inside of a cereal basket, or a cereal box, bread bags, ice bags, newspaper sleeves. I may be double dipping on newspaper sleeves because I use it for dog waste. Probably shouldn't. But we do have recyclable dog bags too. So I guess what the goal is we'd like to work with you by having this We the Lions Club. And we're gonna put a charge into our club as well to make sure folks recycle as well. And I know we got a lot of support within the club to do that. But we'd like to put it at City Hall, put it at the library. Ben, you said you're gonna maybe check on that after this meeting, and that's great, I can help too. But then maybe we could market it a little bit. I mean, Kim's letter was fantastic. I know you've got some more media on this you're gonna talk about a little bit later. Maybe we could do a joint event this fall. I think it's safe to say. I mean, I'm not afraid to get in front of TV cameras being the former mayor, but anyway, the point is not about individuals, it's about the community. That's why I'm honored to be part of the Lions Club. It's a very deep connection. My family, my mom's brothers-in-law have been active in the Lions Club in my hometown for nearly 60 years. My Uncle Dale, who was my godfather. And so I'm honored to be part of the Lions Club, to give back to my community, especially in a leadership role that I was blessed to hold in this community for 6 years, 2 on the council as far as mayor. And I'm honored to be the president of the Lions Club. I just think this is a great thing for us to do. So Ben, thank you for your interest. Kim, thank you for your support. And I guess I'm open for some questions. And the posters would look like this. I have another box there that I might leave. We put the posters on the side of the box. I think, did I send you the JPEG for the Lions yet or not yet?
I have not seen that.
But I can easily do that if you're so inclined. We'd like to do that, of course. And that's my answer. Thank you for listening.
I have a couple questions and then another suggestion.
Sure.
I think it was CBS or possibly ABC did a study last year, was that? Do you remember, Chris?
A year ago, potentially.
Where they put tracking tags on, like you can drop plastic bags off at Pick and Save or Festival or,
Walmart.
A variety of stores. And the results of that study found that most of those bags that are dropped off ended up in landfills. Very few of them actually got recycled. So do you know that these are actually going to be recycled?
Yes, that's what we have been told from the Next Tracks group. So I don't know specifically all those points, Diane, but I just know as a club that was reached out to do this, based on other things, they use the recycled material to build these benches.
Okay.
Do you know where Next Tracks is based? Is it here in the Midwest somewhere?
I'd have to double check on that. I can check on all that.
Are they the one that makes the deck boards and things like that, Next Trucks?
They what?
Make the plastic deck boards?
I think so, yes. Yep.
How's it there?
How's it deck boards?
Yep. So,
I felt more of a connection than like some of the grocery, like grocery stores that just say recycle plastic bags.
Yeah.
so
I like this in the fact that it's, like it's connected to something that you actually know what the end material is.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I like it.
I think it's a terrific idea if they're actually getting recycled. One of the things that I read in their packet was storage. So, I mean, how many pounds do you have to get? 1,000?
1,000 pounds.
So where will this be stored while you're?
Pick and Save.
They'll store it for you?
They'll get rid of it for us. That's how it works.
What do you mean they'll get rid of it?
They take care of it as part of their recycling refuse as they go. So if you see in your packet, Diane, there is all of these businesses that they work with across the country.
So how will you, if you're giving it to Pick and Save, how will you know that you have 1,000 pounds?
Because I'm gonna weigh it before. I have to weigh it, like a fishing scale weight, or I talk to Ben, the city may have a weight.
Okay,
I have to journal it. I have a form that I have to fill out through the Lions Club to Next Trek so they know how much. So if you look at the stories that was sent to you, Fort Atkinson, they meticulously recorded what they did, and then
Okay.
that's how they get credit for it.
okay. And then if you're going to put one here and one in the library, you might think about the community center and the senior center.
So I get three, and our thinking was, and I can reach out to my club members as well, but other clubs have done municipal sites as well as heavy business traffic. So that's why I was thinking Pick and Save, but maybe since Pick and Save already has it, we don't do that. I don't know what other business I would go to in town.
I was gonna suggest maybe not City Hall. I don't know that there's enough.
Community center is fine, yeah.
Yeah, community center and library would be great, I
Community
think.
center, library, and then maybe Pick and Save. So Pick and Save is on the list, so I
Sure, right here, it's right here. So Wisconsin's partnership is Family Fair, Verona Club works with the Festival Foods, Fresh Time, Hy-Vee, Kohl's, Metro Market, Meyer, Pick and Save, Piggly Wiggly, Roundy's, Save-A-Lot, and Webster's Marketplace, which I don't know.
So it could be Hy-Vee also, Hy-Vee or Pick and Save.
But Pick and Save is their manager. I included Ben and Kim on an email with their manager. She hadn't got back to me, but I met with her in person before I sent that email. She seemed very receptive.
Oh, good. I think it would be great because not too many places recycle bubble wrap, or if it's not, if it tears in a straight line, it's not plastic, and so it's great.
So why is this the information request, Diane, why is this not allowed? It says,
Because it's not, I tore the blue one,
yeah,
that tears in a straight line, meaning it's plastic film, not plastic,
see, this does not.
so maybe that's plastic.
Okay, I think, see, I'm learning as well on this stuff.
Yeah, this is plastic.
So, Kim, what do you think? I reached out to you and you seem very positive about this.
Yeah, no, I was so excited about this because especially after, kind of working on this Plastic Free July event that I'm also doing with other community groups through my work. There's a lot of this extra plastic that people are just throwing away because they know they can't recycle it or they're not sure, so they're throwing it away and it's just landing in the landfill. So I think we have an opportunity to do a lot more education. And the reporter who reached out to me when she saw my article, which I'll talk about later, but she just moved to Fitchburg. She is excited about all the work we're doing. I filled her in on everything we're doing. I mentioned this and she said, let me know and I'll be happy to cover it. So I think we'll have a really good opportunity to get a lot of press and education, and people then will know what to do. And I think we can wrap it, since we're starting in July, we wrap it in as part of the Plastic Free July. And here is a great way for you to get started making some small steps, taking your plastic to these drop-off sites, and you're gonna help us build a bench for, City of Fitchburg.
And the Lions Club gets some credit too.
And yes, of course.
Thank you, of course.
Yes.
So what do we do after the 6 months or a year goes by? How do we keep that?
So I think that's a great question, and I will find out more from our end as well.
So I'd like to
We don't wanna burden
Yeah.
taxpayers at all, but I don't think we are. I mean, I might have to use Ben's scale a little bit, but he and I can figure out a time every 2 months or whatever to get together.
Yeah.
Easily come over, boom, meet at 7:30 in the morning, whatever.
Yeah, it really didn't seem like a major time commitment, like,
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
It's like a couple minutes, right?
yeah.
I mean, you can get some pretty cheap.
And I'm comfortable throwing it into my car and taking it up to Pick and Save
And I'm happy to help you with that
Yeah.
too. So.
How do you transport it then, Sean? You take this whole box with you?
probably, and then bring it right back.
So you would weigh the box?
Yeah, so I have if you're okay with this, guys, I would leave that box maybe with Ben,
Sure, yes.
the extra one, and then maybe you can recycle the cardboard for me. And then I would, Kim, I'll defer to you in this group here, but you got a good handle on the local outreach and media and stuff. FACTv is phenomenal and in a lot of capacities, and they love doing this kind of stuff. Bill, you know how to talk to people and out in the public, so Chris is on his
Run by the
Facebook
city
page.
administrator, but I don't really see too many hurdles with, getting this program.
I asked Ben if we need to get city approval to do this.
I don't think we do. I mean, only thing I'm here for is here to fill you guys in as experts on this, but also just to get ability to hold it in the vestibule of the
Well,
Ask forgiveness instead of permission.
Right. I mean, it's very similar to, we have the box out in the City Hall vestibule for the Lions Club for eyeglasses, that people drop off.
which has been phenomenal, by the way. Thank you for that.
Very, very similar style of a program.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if people put tags on some of the stuff that's dropped off in our pick and save and found that 9% of it is being recycled and 91% goes to the landfill, how do we know that pick and save is gonna do the right thing with our plastic?
Well, I don't know that Pick and Save was one that was included in that study, but that was my initial question.
Okay.
How do we know this is actually getting recycled?
Well, if they're part of the Next Trex drop-off bill, they've got to do the right thing. I mean, they're working with Next Trex on this.
So maybe we should do an air tag early on in the process.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a little above my pay grade, but I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is if Pick and Save has additional boxes, is making sure people know what box to put what in.
that's what I'd like to talk about.
Because if you've got 2 other boxes and it's just for plastic bags, and we're telling people to Pick and Save with all this other stuff, I mean, obviously it's on the box, but, we can do some educational, events and stuff, and I even was, thinking when we do our fall recycling event, if we hand out a slip of paper that, says what we're doing and here are the drop-off locations.
We would, as Lions, be part of handing that out too. I mean, good volunteer stuff for us, because and so what we would do on our end we have a Facebook page, Fitchburg Lions Facebook page. Urge you to think about joining, members of the public. But we would put that out there. We would let district Lions clubs knows what we're doing. If this takes off like we think it would, we would get recognition with the local Lions district governors as well as potentially state. As you can see, Fort Atkinson got great press. I think the Fitchburg Star would bite on this. McFarland, those guys are a machine over there. They're doing a lot of stuff on this. So, I mean, I just think we would do a lot on our end, and it's amazing how many Lions networks there are in this state. And how embedded the organizations are in communities, as you all heard of the Lions Club. So, I guess, maybe next steps for me is, if so included, will update club members. I've updated and told that the meeting with Kim and Ben went very well. I told them I was going to be here tonight. I will let them know, and I think I have, Ben, did I send you that Next Trek thing that I have to track or not?
Yes.
Yeah, so you kind of answered Diane's question. I haven't been in it yet, because I just collected my 4th of a pound there, whatever it is. So, we can do that, and then maybe love to get these out ASAP, and I'll get you the JPEG file of our club logo, and then maybe we could do a joint event at your recycling event or something. You guys just let me know.
If we're gonna do the bring your own bag event, standing outside of Pick and Save or whatever, you could have your Lions Club thing with a QR code, people can scan it and get all the information on how to do it.
Perfect.
Are you sure that Pick and Save partners with Next Trex?
They're right on this slip here.
Because the website, maybe it's just not updated, it says TerraCycle.
Central Market on there? I mean, they're.
Yep, Central Market, Pick and Save. Yeah. So their Pick and Save is,
I was just looking to see if Festival will accept in their drop-off, will accept bubble wrap. And so I thought, well, maybe Pick and Save is accepting, that's what I was looking to see. But
I can double check with Pick and Save on all this, and that's not legit, we can go find another private sector.
Well, there's always maybe Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee,
Right.
Yeah.
Target.
I can, she seemed legit at Pick and Save, and I had a good meeting with her, I'm gonna follow up with her again, I just wanna make sure I didn't get too far ahead of you guys.
So what's our next step?
Well, get the logo and kind of get the box, looking how we want it with any other, I figure we just would slap the Lions Club logo right on the box and.
Yeah, that'd be great, and here's some more
Make sure you don't cover up all that.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
on the side, and then I think if you had a smaller logo, you could stick it on the top.
Yeah, whatever, I'll send them our logo, JPEG logo.
So who will pick up the ones that are in the library and over the seniors?
Me.
You will pick
I
those up?
will pick them
Okay.
up and say, Ben, I'll meet you where you wanna meet at 7:45 on a Friday in some random September or something, whatever we
No,
decide.
I mean, we'll have to figure out like what that frequency needs to be, so like
Sure.
somebody will have to let you
I
know.
mean, it could be.
It'd be nice to have other people trained so that you don't have to do it all the time.
Exactly, and that, so with the Verona guy, I love the Verona member, but he's like, I got him coming to my house and I can't have people drop the stuff on my house, I'll get just clobbered. So those are extra signage for Ben and his team for that, just for you guys to keep. There's an extra box like that over there, Ben. And I'll just conclude by saying thank you. I will keep in touch with Ben. And I'll just do a note, this was a no-brainer for us in this October. The Fitchburg Lions Club will be celebrating its 40th anniversary. So we're gonna have a big celebration October 21st. And thank you, same as the city, right? And Connie Darling, who used to be the FACTv director, her husband John, was one of our original members, so we're gonna honor him that night. And so, anyway, former Mayor Clowder is a member, former Mayor Richardson's a member, I am, Andy Potts, who's a former alder, is a member. So we got a lot of good folks in town. Alice Jensen, many of you may remember Alice, very involved in the library project. She's a real involved member. So, again, thank you, and you know how to get a hold of me, and I'll work with you on setting up a time to get this going. And if possible, I can come over, just let me know when they're up, and I'll come over and take a picture.
Yeah.
So I can put it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of stuff.
And then we can figure out when we're ready, like, once we're all set and ready to go, we can reach out to Michelle Renee, who said she would be happy to do a story on it, and we can start, getting information out about what are the materials that they accept and where are the drop-off sites and that sort of thing. Because she said they would also put it up on their website as well.
Which is great.
And I wouldn't mind doing a couple, I mean, I think it just, the transparency of it, like, I'm pretty dead serious about doing the air tags on it. Like, just because we've all seen this story from last year with ABC saying like 90% of these things aren't getting recycled. So just to be able to like tell that as part of the story for this park bench, like, we track this through.
And I'm sure that's solid, I can't guarantee all that, Chris, I'm just saying, it's just on the front end.
Well, I was making sure that you did.
We'll trust but verify.
Yeah. Well, trust, but we wanna just, we may wanna verify.
Correct, I mean, I'm assuming, I don't assuming is not the right word, but this is the program that we're doing,
Yeah,
so.
no, I mean, it seems good.
Let's get those air tags, I like that idea. Fantastic, get them.
Thank you for your, I'm telling you, thank you.
I mean, it's just good for us to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, Ben, I will be in touch, or you can touch me.
Thanks, Sean. If anybody who's working now
Yeah,
has an iPhone,
Thanks,
and
Sean.
is being for long enough,
yeah.
the alarm goes off, and then they'll be like, oh, we better actually recycle this.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not gonna tell them that we're gonna put a,
Andrew, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yep, thanks, Sean.
Andrew and I are gonna be subjected to about 20 hours of board of review here. I chair the city's board of review committee. As you've seen your assessment lately, I'm sure you have opinions on the board of review. So anyway, thank you.
All right, thanks, Sean.
You bet, thank you very much.
All right, let's move on to agenda item 4B, solid waste collection service proposal review. Not sure if we'll spend some time on this. Go ahead, Ben, looks like we only got one proposal in. huh?
We did, luckily, I think it was pretty strong, at least, from the price standpoint. Not sure if folks here had gotten a chance to kind of look through the price quotations piece.
Yeah, where was that at? I must have missed it.
if
kind
you,
of at the bottom.
if you go to, it is page 61 of your packet. Thank you. Oh, yep, great idea.
Oh, I saw this. I thought it was just, I looked at it, I thought it was historical data. Oh, wait a second. I see now. Okay.
Just gonna share my screen here. All right. So I guess just, high-level summary, refuse collection pricing went up about $1 for next year compared to this year. Recycling actually went down for both options, the unlimited and for the limited recycling. And then brush and yard waste collection were really very similar to what they are today. Then we also got some prices for a potential bulk service program, and those were, it'd be a pretty expensive program to do a citywide bulk pickup. Some of the costs were well over $100 per unit for that service. But in general, if you look at, add up all the different, dollars per unit per month, we're really right about where we're at today. So not the huge cost increase that, maybe I had mentioned in previous meetings that I was suspecting based on other RFPs or proposals. So from that perspective, I think it was, not a lot of concerns. But a couple of the big things I think we should discuss.
So there's alternate 1 and alternate 2 here for the recycling. And I presume you're talking about alternate 2?
So alternate 2 is the program that we currently have.
The unlimited.
Yep. So alternate 1 would be, if you have additional recyclables, you would have to pay Pelletary a fee per additional bag.
It actually says no additional bags allowed. That just means no additional bags picked up for free.
Right,
okay.
Correct.
You would need a tag or something.
Yeah, which would, the resident would work out directly with Pelletary. The cost for next year per unit per month with the no additional bags allowed is $4.47 compared to $4.97 for the unlimited, so it's a 50-cent price per unit per home per month, so $6 a year, for a resident. I think that's really both are fairly attractive. I mean, if you look at the 2024 price per dollar per unit per month for the unlimited recycling, it was $6.04. So it actually went down just over $1 for 2025. So really pretty competitive. The additional bags are a little bit more than what they were this year, so it went from $3.50 to $4 for anyone that has additional bags. But again, I think pretty competitive here. And then if you kind of look at, these jumps up it's about 3% each year, give or take. And the same goes for the refuse pickup as well. It's about 3% or so increase per year for these price quotations. So yard waste, again, really pretty similar. Jumps up 30 cents for next year, and then it'd be a 15-cent increase about per year. And it's the same pricing for both alternate 1 and alternate 2. Again, alternate 1 is 4 collections per year, alternate 2 is 5 collections per year.
Well, wait a second. The second one talks about not commingling yard waste and brush, right?
Yes.
So isn't that the difference?
So I honestly don't know why we kept this section in here. I should have removed it, but since all of the yard waste and brush goes to Purple Cow, it can all be commingled, so.
There's no benefit to not having it separate.
Right.
Okay.
So it can all be commingled, which of course will, provide a cost benefit with allowing for that.
So which one should be removed then? Should have been in here?
It's
Second
that,
table?
yeah, that second table is not really relevant. I mean, I guess it could become relevant if for whatever reason Purple Cow went out of business and we needed to find a new site to do our composting. Maybe they would have different restrictions, so I guess it could come into play, but probably not.
Should we discuss the 4 versus 5 yard waste collections? Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, we can kind of talk about that now. I'd say that's probably the biggest complaint, if you will, that I get from residents is a lot of people have expressed that they would like additional yard waste pickup.
Do they want additional, or is the timing just off because the trees are holding their leaves longer, beyond the last pickup?
I've heard both.
Actually, what I saw last year, as this commission tried to reduce yard waste pickup, encouraging people to compost. And the 4 collections a year seemed to work pretty well until maybe the last 2 years, but certainly last year. Some people had their yard waste ready to go early in October, some people not till late in November, so it really was the gamut. So I think last year could make a really good argument for 3 fall pickups, 2 spring like we still have, and 3 fall. Did you have a chance to pull the stats together?
Yes, I did. I did email that out here.
And so these things are listed as price per unit per collection. What constitutes a unit?
So that would be like
Single family?
one single family house, or if
So
there's.
this is per potential stop, regardless of whether there's actually any brush out there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And let me pull up that yard waste.
So it says prices for yard waste is to be collected 4 or 5 times during the period of April, May, and October, November. Is that 4 or 5 times between April and May, or 4 or 5 times altogether?
Altogether.
Altogether.
Here we go. So here's kind of a summary of loads of yard waste and loads of brush from 2019 to 2023.
Do you have it by collection?
I guess I do, not handy though. This is just.
Yeah, I mean like by spring, you mean by spring or fall?
No. So if there are 4 collections, they have it for, Pelletier provides it for each collection. They've got this long spreadsheet that they do, and I don't have anything for this year. I don't have an update for this year, but last year, the heavy one was in the second fall pickup. That was like twice the first fall pickup, so I probably had one in between there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be curious to know how much is picked up in the spring versus the fall. So I mean, we have 2 spring pickups right now and 2 fall.
Yep. And
I don't think, well, if you've gotten calls for an additional spring pickup, but what I saw last fall was, I mean, their stuff wasn't quite ready to make the first
Right, yeah.
pickup, but right after the first pickup, and then it just has to wait and wait and wait.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been hearing. So no one that I've talked to has, requested more spring pickups. It's really all been focused on in the fall, so.
I was wondering if we could get by with one spring pickup
That's what I'm thinking
and
too.
3 in the fall. I mean,
Yeah,
if after the fall, you go through winter and into spring, you really can't accumulate any yard waste, you got brush if you're doing pruning of trees and stuff, but I don't know how much yard waste you can
I don't think
accumulate.
I'd put any yard waste down in the spring.
Well, I think you normally cut down grasses in the spring, so if you have like grasses in your landscaping, you're supposed to cut those down in the
Sure.
spring.
Yeah,
But other than that, that's, and then it's like, even your old flower pots, those are sometimes, things that are done in the fall, you're emptying those out, but
yeah,
yeah, I don't have as much in the fall, in the spring.
yeah. I mean, I think that would be a good
It'd be,
idea.
it'd be good to get statistics on how much was picked up for each of the spring,
Pelletieri provides that.
yeah.
Well, while you're looking for that, should we talk about unlimited recycling?
Yeah, I think that's a good topic. I mean, I know that, in the past, it seemed the consensus would be maybe to recommend not having the unlimited recycling, just based on what we know as far as how many people use that service. It's not that many.
And the residents paying essentially $6 per year to have that service. So, I myself have lived in Fitchburg for 17 years now. I've never gone to use that service. So, never even, thought about it, but, it doesn't seem like there's too many homes that are
I don't know if you had a chance, sorry, I thought you were done,
Yeah, go ahead.
to look at the document that I sent, but based on what Pelletieri told us in January, 96 households out of 6,202 households are using the overflow, the unlimited curbside recycling. My suggestion is, and Pelletieri would really like to get out of doing that, so they're staffed, they don't have to get out of the truck.
Safety issue.
So if we switch to just picking up from carts, my suggestion is to offer people that Fitchburg absorbs the exchange if people want to get a bigger cart for a limited time.
Do we know for those, 1.5% of people who are actually taking advantage of it, do they all have the 65-gallon cart right now, or do some of them already have the 95?
Well, that was an answer that I don't think we could get.
Right.
But we
I mean, some people
did,
may, yeah.
we did find out that a lot of the people that have unlimited recycling have more than one bag of unlimited recycling per collection. So,
Sounds like they need to read a few more RCC articles in the Fitchburg stuff.
well, yeah.
I think if I want to go
Well,
shopping.
they might have a big
Yeah.
household, there's
Yeah.
things
Well,
like.
the other option that Pelletieri said is that they could have 2 recycling carts. They would pay an annual fee for that, because that would
Sure.
be part of the
Yeah.
cities.
Like that you're thinking of options, for this transition, because, there are gonna be those people that have been using the service that, could be frustrated.
And maybe they need to start squishing their recyclables.
Pelletieri says you're not supposed to do that, because when they put it through their processor, it
Well, I'm not
recognizes
necessarily talking about
three-dimensional
plastic,
shapes.
but I've seen recycling carts with boxes that
Oh,
haven't been
breaking down
Break
collapsed.
down your boxes is
Cardboard.
probably the big thing.
Yeah, squish was not a good word. So I suggest that we stop the unlimited curbside recycling and offer residents for a limited time to exchange their recycling cart, and the city will pick that up.
If they're a bigger one, if they need it.
Yeah.
Okay. I would support that too.
That would be a reduction of $6. If you added in another yard waste, that's another $3, so you'd still be, less than what it previously was. And you wouldn't even have to touch brush, which we'll talk about next.
So on the yard waste, we're all pretty on the same page, that we think 3 in the fall is okay, it's a decision.
One in the
Well,
spring.
let's look at what, did you find that
Can
spreadsheet?
I
Before we
did.
switch to yard waste, could I just ask a quick question on the bins? So, with the unlimited, so then would you then know who those residents are that are using the unlimited? And you would send something out to them, letting them know that, you know, if they wanted to get a bigger bin, that's something they would provide? Or would this just be if you hear from them, because now we've stopped the service, or would we be sending it out to everyone?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the big question, because, you know, obviously if you send it out to everyone, then, you know, that's gonna open up a whole can of worms.
I
But
think
if
you
you
should-
are able to figure out who those 96 people or whatever,
And that could.
and maybe they just reach out to you and say, hey, I've been using this unlimited service, what happened? Then you could say, well, here are the options that we can offer you.
yeah.
I think the large postcard should go out to everyone to let them know we're renewing our contract for garbage and recycling pickup. Here are the changes from last time.
Right,
So
and
they-
I was
So
thinking,
they'll know.
because it's not gonna be exactly the same,
Yeah.
most likely. And another good
I
opportunity.
mean, we got
to-
funding for education type stuff, don't we?
Right.
For mailings.
Yep.
So,
Yep, and another good
Well,
opportunity
it could
to,
also go out with a property tax bill.
You would have
Would
separate
that
mailing.
give enough time for swap outs?
I'd probably send it out as like a postcard individually
Okay.
with Minutemen Press.
It's depressing enough to get your property tax bill.
Yeah.
Right?
And we're cutting this.
But I'm not gonna read it.
The
It'd be
good
frustrating.
news is, the waste and recycling isn't going up as much as it could be going
Yeah.
up.
True, could spin it.
Yeah, right.
Here's the good news, here's the bad news.
But anyways, yard waste data. So in the spring collections, there was 16 loads collected. And it was collected from about 1,200 individual properties.
Can you share that?
Is there a breakout between first and second collection?
Is that 2 collections that were done in the
They break
spring?
it up. They do it by week. So
Right,
it's
I'm
broken
asking, yeah. So,
So one collection was in May, the other was in June, and I
oh,
was.
really?
Yeah, so I'll have
I
to,
said April and May.
I'll have to share my other.
June seems kind of late.
Sorry, I meant, it is April and May, I was looking at
Okay.
the wrong month here, I gotta share my screen again.
I think most folks would be pleased to see a third pickup in the fall.
Yeah, so here it is up on the screen, so, in April, you had about 10 loads from 685 properties, and then it went down to 6.3 loads, across 571 properties.
Okay, so it's roughly 10% of all the pickups in April and then another 10% in May.
And you go down
So
to.
if we switch to 1 pickup in May,
Could you go back up, please?
I'd be a little concerned about switching to 1 in May.
You'd rate it
Why is that?
May, first week of May.
right,
Or sorry, switching to 1 in the spring. I mean, there's still quite a few people using it.
It's not showing up there. I think you need to go to you need to move your,
It's right here.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't filled in on this side, or it's in a different,
Okay.
yeah, it's in the totals. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at this column here. So the fall ones are dramatically more. I'll go back down to those. Yes, that's October and November. So, we got 7.7, which is actually less than the April one, but it was across a higher number of residences. And then the November collection was much, by far the largest, from the most, both weight-wise or volume-wise and number of properties.
And looking at other years, that's pretty consistent, you kind of see those numbers kind of,
Yeah, you can kind of look and, let's see.
Actually, are you looking at 2022? Don't we want to look at 2024?
I was looking at 23, I just switched to 22.
Oh,
So April, May here, you know, you got about 20, 11 in April, 9 in May.
we had a late spring this year.
it kind of depends on
We
what.
had snow on our waterway cleanup day, and then Gesundheit, and that was April, which
Yeah.
that might have skewed things a little bit.
I think,
I mean, if you let folks know for one pickup, look, we're trying to save money, we're also trying to accommodate the large, leaf accumulation that occurs in the fall time, giving people more opportunities to have leaf pickup, that we decided to go with 1 in the spring and 3 in the fall. Otherwise, we would have to increase the cost to include an additional pickup in the fall.
Well, another option is to add a fall one, 2 in the spring, 3 in the fall, and look at it again next year, because we can always eliminate one of them.
If you did 2 in the spring, 3 in the fall, and got rid of the unlimited recycling, it would still be cheaper.
Cheaper.
yeah,
Okay.
And, you know, I still, you know, if we're still looking to cut cost, you know, I think going down from 14 to 12 brush collections, you know, each brush collection costs $2.25. 14 just seems like a lot of.
Oh, it used to be more.
we've been at what, we've been at 12 and
You're 14.
we've been at 14.
Wow.
I think we were at 12 and then added 2, that was back when Claudia was here. And
Well, I know we scheduled it out to do it in 10, right?
Well, we tried to do 10, but council didn't go along with that.
Does a brush include Christmas trees?
That is just done by city staff. Yeah.
So 14 times of the year, that includes wintertime,
It's like every 3 weeks, isn't it?
even in the
Yeah,
winter?
more
No,
or less.
no.
Yeah, they shut it down, but
It
it,
starts in April, ends in November.
November, okay.
Is there a particular time of year when it's pretty light, or is it
I think a
utilized
lot
pretty
of it-
heavily the whole time?
just comes down to weather, like storm damage.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Had a fair number of storms and, you know, now people are starting to trim their shrubs and things like that, so I know I'm eyeing up the July one as trying to take it, I didn't use it in June, but I will use it in July.
I guess I'd like to, see the data. If there's a consistently high collection on all 14, then why would we get rid of them?
Yeah, I don't think that, since we don't have the data to look at today, and unless we want to stay here until 10, maybe we stick with what we
10
have.
o'clock Eastern.
10 o'clock Eastern.
Maybe we stick with what we have for this year and revisit that when we have the data to look at.
Brush pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think it is really weather dependent. I have looked at this data before and, you know, there just doesn't seem to be any trend that I could kind of figure
Yeah,
out.
it's all weather
Yeah.
dependent, and in the spring, if we have them, late spring, then that's gonna affect things, into May, if you,
But in June and July, I would think it would be lighter.
Right.
And maybe even August.
Well,
And
unless
then-
we got storm damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
but we could always do a special brush clip pickup, which we've done in the past. We didn't do that this year.
If we had a major storm go through the area.
Yeah.
And then if you have a mild fall, then, everything's gonna be shifted into November.
We did have, way back, one brush pickup in June, 1 in July, and 1 in August, instead of, so I think that's
Instead
where
of every
we,
3 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why did we increase it then? Was there, public was,
Presumably there was demand for it, I would think.
I don't remember if it was residents complaining or council. I don't remember. You can drive, like Madison doesn't have scheduled pickups,
yeah,
and you drive through and you see brush laying there and laying there and laying there, and maybe some alder didn't appreciate, I don't know. I don't remember why it was changed.
So we have about 5 minutes till our next topic.
So if we get rid of the unlimited recycling, we pretty much could have that extra fall one then, and
Yeah.
still keeps to the spring.
Yeah.
Is there room for negotiation on this contract? Because they only allow one shred day, and our current contract doesn't specify just one.
Right.
So, do you think that there's room for negotiation, or is this how it is?
I mean, I think there's always room for negotiation, but I think the fact that they specifically put it in there, and I've talked to them about it, I think they did it for a reason. I don't think they're gonna go back on that. And I would say, you know, we would still want to do the 2 shred events. It doesn't cost that much to have them come for a couple hours.
How much does it cost?
Geez, what was it? $300 or something like that. Pretty reasonable for a whole event, citywide event.
Yeah, I remember.
Also, I didn't see a waste audit in here.
They did discuss the waste audit. Let's see what page that's on.
I tried searching for it and came up empty, but maybe it was my search engine.
Yeah, this isn't
This is all
unfortunately.
scanned images, there's no text in the PDF, in the packet.
Pardon me?
It's all scanned
No.
images.
In the packet it is, but Ben sent it to Chris, because Chris
Oh,
and I were going to be on that committee to review it.
Do we take advantage of that fuel rebate surcharge? I mean, it
Well, we
said,
never get rebates.
but it said something, if they didn't have, the city didn't have some kind of a certification, a financial certification or something.
Oh, the letter of credit.
Yeah.
Letter of credit, yeah.
Do we still need to have that? Does that,
That
finance
may
still insist on that?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a decision that finance makes.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna get any say in that. I think the policy is that, you know, if they're gonna be providing the service, they need to have some sort of a letter of credit. But yes, on page 95 of the packet here, they do talk about, you know, they would provide a waste characteristic study for refuse, recycling, yard waste. And they would charge $325 per truck hour and $65 per administrative hour.
Oh, see, I think it used to be free. I don't think they charged us before.
There was some language in the existing contract that talks about help assisting the city, and I don't think they laid out a cost, but I do believe they said there would be a cost associated with the per truck hour, although they didn't give the specific cost, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And Parks decided to continue emptying they did?
Mm-hmm. But I guess there's a couple other things I just wanted to highlight. It's kind of funny, you know, we were just talking about, you know, Sean was here with recycling the plastic films, which right now there isn't a way to recycle those films, you know,
In Fitchburg.
But if you look at page, let's see. If I can find the page number here. Yeah, so this is on page 100 of the packet. It says, please note our black polystyrene program is expanding. Plastic film free from contamination can now be put in the polystyrene container.
Plastic film free of contamination.
So,
Interesting.
in the polystyrene container. So, you know, we
It's
actually.
just another option for residents, I think.
Yeah.
What if Sean put his bag recycling out at the cardboard station?
I don't think it's
I bet that'd fill up quick.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
talk about
pretty rough
contamination.
looking, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a cleaner stream at our collection points that we identified, and we will up there.
Pelletieri also suggested if we staff the drop-off site, that they could do rigid plastic recycling. We used to be able to do that curbside, and then the market for that evaporated and they stopped doing that. I was at the drop-off site actually today. The yard waste is not yard waste. There was a tree that was at least this big around.
In there.
It was, yeah, it was a lot of brush and very little yard waste, and somebody there was dropping off grass cuttings, and I'm thinking, what mower doesn't chop, I mean, yeah.
Mulch it up.
So, I think, and this, I'll bring this up again, or maybe I won't because I'm talking about it now. In the operating budget, I think that we need to consider staffing the drop-off site and limiting the hours. And if we do that, we could add this bulk recycling. We could certainly get the yard waste cleaned up where they're not dropping off brush. And maybe we can reduce the corrugated cardboard, yeah.
So what types of plastic, this bulk rigid plastic, or what are some examples of that?
Like a kiddie pool,
Big toys,
yeah,
Plastic slides, like little plastic slides.
laundry baskets,
Those plastic chairs, lawn chairs.
yeah.
basically any plastic that'd be too big to fit in your cart, more or less.
So in this contract, we would be able to drop it off along with the styrofoam then in the same container?
No.
Different
No.
container,
Different container.
so they'd have to bring a different dumpster out
That's only
there,
if we have it staffed.
and then,
They'll only do it if
Just staffed.
it's staffed, yeah.
Oh, it looks like food storage is on there too, like Ziploc containers.
Well, we can do, if
For
Sean's program goes forward, they accept, I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool, they
They
accept Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
a couple other new things that they discussed in here. As far as kind of the food waste diversion, they did offer to work with the city and Dane County to set up a food waste drop-off kiosk, and they would cover the first $500 a month of this service. So Dane County is kind of still working on getting their compost program up and running, so this would be more of a 2025, well, I guess 2026 maybe. Although they did mention,
Or maybe mid-2025.
maybe later in 25.
Yep.
But, that's, I think, a great opportunity we could definitely take advantage of too when that comes around.
Yeah, I thought they had some nice things in this proposal. Do you think that we didn't get responses from the other waste haulers because this was just so complicated?
So I haven't talked with anyone at GFL. I did talk to someone at Waste Management. I don't know, I didn't feel like I really got a great explanation. I think their concern was, getting enough trucks in this area. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, I guess. But they kind of talked about needing to staff up this area more. Like they don't have the
They don't have
the
the
trucks in the fleet here, was their concern from what I understood.
What about any of the smaller, I think they're like Batcherland or anything?
They got bought out
Okay.
by LRS. LRS also did decline to propose.
So you didn't hear anything from anybody else so pretty much the only feedback was from Waste Management,
yeah.
not having enough fleet in the area to, okay.
Well,
We've
I'm,
received bids on our previous 5 years, this seems like the first time. where-
Yeah, so last round it was Badgerland and
Yeah.
Pelletieri. I don't know if there was a third.
Did you get a complaint log from Pelletier?
They're working on getting that to me.
Well, Pelletier, since I've been in Fitchburg, we've had Green Valley Waste Management and Pelletier is by far a better customer service and recycling efforts. And CNG, I mean, I don't even know if the other companies are using that compressed natural gas in their trucks or electric trucks. So Pelletier has been great as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not sorry that they're the only response. I would have been disappointed if they didn't respond. So what's the next step for going to council?
Well,
Do you draft a
I'll
resolution?
have to draft a resolution, and basically kind of a memo just outlining what the official kind of recommendation will be. And I guess I'm feeling that it's gonna be add a yard waste in the fall and drop the unlimited, and everything else is pretty much gonna be the same. I mean, I think that people would be very happy with that, and if we could do that.
Keeping brush collections at 14 too, is that our game plan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for now.
Unlimited
Yeah.
curbside recycling.
When do you have to send this to council? Will we have another meeting before you do that? Because then we could discuss yard waste at the same time. Not yard waste, brush.
Oh, so you would, I mean, before a final recommendation, you wanna get some additional data?
Well,
and then
depending on when he has to
we
send
can
this.
move to 12 instead of 14. We have the data to back it up.
Yeah,
Well, I'll have to talk with Misty to see when the absolute latest I could send her the pricing
Okay.
for the trash bill. So because that's what it'll come down to. If I need to get that in by September, that was kind of my plan. Maybe it could be pushed to October. If that's the case, then I could bring this to the next meeting.
well, if you brought it to the next meeting in August, and then, does the council have a meeting after that in August?
Yeah, so they'll meet on the 20th.
Would that give you enough time to make that decision?
Well, if we do the 20th, I could send it back out to RCC in September, get it. Yeah, I think probably, but I'll put that on my action item, and I'll get you an answer about that tomorrow.
And then when you put this resolution together, would you, about the unlimited curbside recycling, would you include my suggestion about the city absorbing the swap fee for those who want to?
Yeah, I could certainly add that in there. And, you know, I think we'll see if Council or Finance, you know, decides to forego the recommendation, which it sounds like they did in the previous year, but
That
they're less
particular-
Finance committee.
Finance, the last time we went through this, there was a strong alder on there who didn't want to cut services. And that's why, so it's 2 alders and Misty, right?
It's 3 alders.
3 alders? Well, there were 2 alders that went together and said they didn't want to cut services, and that's why we didn't get a brush reduction. But that doesn't necessarily explain, we never talked about going away from unlimited curbside recycling. That's never been brought.
Oh, okay.
Did we talk about that the last time around? I don't think so. Did we, Chris? No, we didn't. We never had these stats before that only 96 households are using it. So I think that's pretty telling.
Makes a pretty strong case.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll have some info for the group here tomorrow sometime, just about the next steps. And on from there.
Okay. All right, any other comments? If not, let's move on to item 4C, planning for the 2025 RCC operating budget. Ben, just send us some numbers.
Yeah, so I guess I'll share my screen again here.
Yeah, a couple questions.
So this is basically the budget sheet from last year. This is the stormwater budget, so the RCC has funding in both the stormwater utility budget and the refuse and recycling budget.
I had a question on the CIAC, the developer contributions, why it went from 50,000 to 500.
The SIAC, that's something to do with certain development activities, I'd have to talk to our finance director. I think she could probably give you a better
I
explanation.
mean, what do those revenues go toward in terms of, towards expenditures, or what do they cover?
Well, they basically cover, any of these expenditures.
I mean, it's a big jump from 50,000 to 500,000.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't have a great answer for you on that.
And the same thing with the interest income, it goes from 3,000 to 50,000.
Yeah, I don't fill out those sections of the budget sheet. I know the interest, looking back at past budgets, does vary quite a bit. It just seems to be how it has, how it's been in the past. Yeah, I'll find out about the SIAC.
Who decides the developer contribution? Is that the plan commission, or who sets that?
I would have to talk to Misty about that.
I'm sorry to ask you so many
No
questions.
worries.
I mean, having that much wouldn't decrease some of the homeowners' contributions, reduce our stormwater fee?
Can always try.
Yeah.
Well, probably. I don't think the SIAC is something that is.
What does that stand for, do you know?
Yeah, it's something asset. Let me see here. Contributions in aid of construction.
I mean, construction toward.
I think it's with these
City
stormwater, with these development agreements that we have, a certain development may be required to do some upgrade to the stormwater system in order to build their site. I think it's that construction contribution, like a plat is installing storm sewer for the city.
Is this potentially because there's development going on in
I think that
in an expanded urban services area?
Yeah, I'd have to check with Misty on the specifics for that, but that could be.
This has got nothing to do with the cost of dredging our stormwater retention ponds or anything like that.
No.
When a developer puts in a stormwater feature, who owns it? Do they own it, or does the city own it?
So it depends. So for example, the Hartung Plat, the city actually owns those, and the reason for that is because those ponds are treating water from city right-of-way, so we have to meet stormwater management standards for not only the lots, but then also the roads. So because it's treating city infrastructure, the city will take ownership of that. If you have a smaller development where, you know, it's really just that site that's draining into the stormwater basin,
Yeah, like a business.
like a business or something, that would be privately owned because it's not treating any city water.
So then they would have a maintenance agreement
Okay.
agreement
Got that.
between the business and the city.
Okay.
So that there's an understanding, like, you know, you're expected to clean the silt out of this if it silts up and maintain the functionality of this stormwater management feature essentially.
On the operating budget, I don't know how you can calculate the dollars, but I think that we should request staffing for the drop-off site,
Yeah, that would be nice.
Staffing for what?
the drop-off site.
Recycling.
Oh, recycling site, yeah, okay, yep.
Yeah, and I was just talking with Tim, Director of Public Works, about this late last week. I'm gonna kind of work on putting together a memo for finance and our administrator, just to kind of outline, you know, here's what we propose, here are some different hours that, you know, we could potentially have. You know, this is what we would estimate costs from a staff perspective. And then, you know, here are the benefits that we could get by doing so, you know, reducing the amount of cardboard, contamination, being able to include other services like this rigid plastic, or even things like electronics, is something we could consider doing if it was staffed. It just kind of opens up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to share that because there's gonna be, you know, people are so used to it from so much time being able to, like, you know, I have, you know, all this cardboard this week and I need to take it out there. And, you know, so people are gonna go out there and find that they can't even take it out there, so, you know.
There's gonna have to be like a few months almost of heads up.
Right.
Changing,
Yeah,
you know,
we have to
signs
be
out at
careful
the
with
drop-off site, and,
Right.
because otherwise it's gonna be a painful,
Yeah, you're gonna get a
couple
lot of
months,
calls,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, we'd have to, the communications on that are gonna have to be pretty good, because there's gonna be people that will be, are just used to that, and taking their yard waste out there, like, you know,
It's
when you
gonna
get
be-
into the spring and the fall, like, it's like constant.
Oh, yeah.
I think it might be helpful, well, also in your memo, you can point out whatever staff time is involved in cleaning up like the yard waste versus brush. But I think on the sign that you have there, maybe you can start saying no brush allowed, or something like that, because that pickup truck that I mentioned to you that was full, I'm sure that's where they're heading. So I just don't know that people realize you're not supposed to drop off brush, and you see other brush there, and so you just.
Sure.
Yep.
And in fact, I ran into a couple last year after our last brush pickup, and they missed the brush pickup, so they were cutting up their, whatever it was a tree that died, and stuffing it into the back of their SUV, and they were bringing it down to the drop-off site. So I think people just don't realize
Right.
brush isn't allowed.
Well, and
Yeah, brush and yard waste may not, the distinction there may not be apparent to the average citizen.
Yeah.
in the city was allowing brush, after that windstorm we had about a month or so ago.
Oh, were they?
Just as, you know, there was so much of it, trying to help people out. And we've talked about potentially just allowing people to bring brush in, especially if we were to at any point reduce it from 14 to 12. You know, I think we would definitely allow brush to be,
Well, a certain diameter you're allowed, or?
Yeah.
I think just.
We did a video a couple years ago, remember? And
Really brief.
that's right, I had brush. But yeah, so we talked about the diameter of,
Yeah.
you know, what was
Right.
allowed.
Yeah.
So.
Why did we get away from that, allowing brush there?
Well, it's still not allowed there.
But it used to be, right?
I don't know that it ever was, but
Well,
certain
diameter.
thumb size, right?
I don't know, I'd have to go back and.
I think,
review
you know,
the video.
the reality is, once it goes into the grinding machine, it doesn't really matter if it's a little twig or a 4-inch diameter, you know, as long as it's not a tree trunk, the grinder, it's not gonna slow it down at all, so we could accept brush, it'd be more of.
You're sending everything through the grinder as it is?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be afraid of just running out of room there in the fall if people are bringing leaves and brush. I mean, it
Yeah.
gets pretty full just with the leaves.
Well, it's another, if it's staffed, that might be another benefit. You know, you won't have commercial people dropping off their brush, you'll just have
Right.
people that don't have a place to put their brush till the next pickup, yeah.
We're starting to run a little behind, so.
All right.
Can you go to 345, actually, oh, it's right there? Yeah, there it is. That's our expenditures for
Yes.
revenue.
Yeah.
Expenditures, I should say. We're allowed, budgeted.
It's not all of ours.
This is just for the stormwater
Stormwater
budget.
part,
Yeah,
right,
so there's another row in the,
So do we actually
Yeah,
spend all that
recycling.
money every year, or?
no, I mean, we spent some money for the waterway cleanup supplies.
We didn't spend $250.
No,
Close.
And we have a stipend in there just in case, like, we have a speaker coming from, like, out of town, like, that we'd be able to cover their mileage or something like that.
Where, which one, the
Speakers, films.
speaker films?
Yeah.
We used to have waterway cleanup gifts.
Yeah.
And that was kind of in the waterway, like t-shirts or something.
Trash you could throw in the waterway.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think people, you know, people have donated things and.
Well, even like the food for events, like,
Right.
we normally get it donated, you know, like, we'll have pizza once a year from Ian's Pizza, they'll donate for events, but we like to have that, you know, because like this last event, we didn't have that. So Sharon spent some of her own money and, you know, although I've told her probably, you know, a handful of times to turn in her receipt, I have my doubts that she ever did that, and she's done that for the last 14 years for community outreach events. Like, I don't know that she's ever, and she's, oh, it's not much, you know, but like she always, you know, does that. She gets our food before the events typically.
She had a lot of nice snacks.
She did.
Not necessarily healthy ones, but
Well,
they were nice quantity.
For waterway cleanup, it'd be nice if we had those gripper things, so people,
Yeah, that's something we could buy.
I mean, I bring mine out, I only have like 5, and I share them, particularly the kids like them, but, you know, collect them at the end, and then reuse them if they're not.
As long as we get them back, that's
Yeah.
probably been the
But
biggest
you have to be in
issue.
charge to make sure you're getting them back. I mean, everybody gives their gloves back, but I say, keep them, nobody wants your sweaty gloves.
Yeah.
I get the vest back,
yeah, yep.
but the
Yeah,
gloves, I
think
just
if
let
we
them
can,
keep.
if we could keep track of those and get those back, I think I've got one that I use all the time right
Yeah,
now.
I
Selfish
mean, it would
because I
really
don't-
help a lot.
Yeah, mine, I forgot to order a new one, mine was broken and I didn't have one this year and I was like waiting. I had boots, so I was like grabbing it with a stick.
And you're probably pretty sore the next day, I bet.
Yeah.
I almost fell in a couple of times.
Maybe next year.
Yeah,
So,
I gotta remember.
well, I think we should, I mean, if we have money there, we should be able to use it for things that makes our efforts easier.
Oh, yeah,
Makes encourages more citizens to come out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
I mean, I think we talk about that most years and then, you know, this is the only time we look at it, so maybe we could just work into like, you know, maybe like a February meeting as we're kind of preparing for the
Yeah.
waterway cleanup, what are the things that we need to purchase now? Like,
Yeah.
actually have a
Yeah.
discussion about it and have it as an agenda item.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, we'll come back to this next July and have the same conversation.
Right.
so I think that we should request the same that we did last year.
Yeah.
Except for that,
And we didn't spend it all,
we'd like the
Yeah.
drop off
Yeah.
Right.
staffing.
Yes, we can certainly look into that too. I'm glad there wasn't any requests for more funding because I think it's gonna be tough this year. And Bill, maybe you know more about that, but I think the direction I was given was if you're, you know, increasing the budget somewhere, you should look. to cut it-
Things are
cut
pretty
it
tight,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yep. So I think,
I mean, ours is pretty small.
it is,
Yeah.
it is. It's a drop in the bucket.
Well, where are you going to put the extra, if we do this shredding event,
Yeah.
where are you going to put that? Because that would
That'd
be
in the
extra.
recycling
I
bin.
would probably throw that in let's see,
So
these
you-
refuse recycling accounts.
So you're gonna bump that up for the paint?
Yeah, I'll call them and get what their price is. And then I'll just take something out of here.
Just some food for thought. Typically, the fall shred event is much later than the spring one. And there's sometimes when it's just boring to be out there. We happen to be swamped in April because one of the local networks had it on their update that we were having a shred event, and we had people coming from all over the place for shredding, but
I think people spend the winter time, like I do, go through my basement and get rid of all the stuff.
well, and with taxes, you know, you can get rid of
Tax
the
forms, yeah.
previous, so maybe we're okay just having an April or May, whatever date works out, shred event instead of a fall one.
Yeah, we could see. I mean, I don't know, we'll see how much paper.
I mean, presumably there should be less and less paper waste as time goes on, as people go more green with their mail and their bills and, you know, everything else.
I know there's some financial people come through, accountants or
Oh,
whatever.
I know that.
You empty boxes and boxes of checks and all these other things. It's like, this is not one person.
Everything that's 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
One year we had a trailer come through with boxes and,
Oh, really?
yeah. And I know some people are cleaning out like relatives who have passed
Yeah,
away.
Passed away, right, yeah.
But still, as long as it's not on the news, I don't know how they pick that up, but I think we'd be okay. I bet this fall collection will be light, especially if the date hasn't changed.
Yeah, we're pretty much locked in on the 14th, so we'll see how it goes.
One quick thing on the.
You're gonna have a hard time getting people to staff it.
Yeah, the Fitchburg Star, we're advertising, was it 8,500 or 8,350? What does that go toward?
Well, nothing, or not much really, because we haven't been advertising in it.
Used to be split, the cost for that page
I
of the
thought it was
city
like, yeah.
page was split with RCC and Parks,
Uh-huh.
even though all departments use it. Yeah, but that's another place you could buy an ad, if we eliminate the unlimited curbside
Right,
recycling, you could put an ad in about that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'd like to see that amount increase so that city buys that page back, we really need that.
Is there, I guess, any other questions?
So in summary, we're maintaining our
I think so.
typical budgetary items. We're adding in a cost for drop-off, recycling, staff person.
And that'll be a different form that gets filled out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're adding in, are we gonna add in a shred event, like a budgetary item for it?
So I've
In
got,
case we do have it?
so I've got this $300 for recycling events.
Okay.
I'd probably just bump that up
Okay,
and take some things out.
So at some point, are we gonna have a discussion about how the recycle center is gonna operate?
Yeah, we can continue to have those
I
discussions.
think we need to have
I
a
mean,
discussion.
You can have that
I
in
mean,
August. I mean, I
I
don't,
think somebody put something together on how other municipalities are doing it around here, right? You sent that.
I did, yeah, I've got a spreadsheet and
I
all.
think we need to bring that back up, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps identifying staffing or staffing, hours.
Because we even came up with like a cost estimate, with wages and benefits, what that would,
Yeah.
what that would
You
cost.
say we,
so-
but it was you.
But I mean, we've got all the information
Okay.
to present our case at least, and
Again, that's something you could advertise in the Star, say, hey, we're making
Yeah.
changes down at the recycling center,
Mhm.
so you should be aware. And in the postcard, if you put the postcard out,
right.
changes are coming.
But it's gonna save you money.
Yeah, right.
Your tax dollars at work.
Yes.
We're cutting this, we're cutting this.
All right, were there any other questions on the budget? Are you pretty much keeping it the same as last year, very frugal group?
Okay.
All right. Let's move on then to agenda item 5, 5A, the food waste collection opportunities.
Yeah, so I just got a collection of a few different potential opportunities that were brought to my attention. This first one here is, well, this is just the press release. So the Village of Oregon has a partnership with Green Box Compost to offer curbside composting. They're subsidizing it for a year. Ron and Chris, you guys brought this to my attention.
Yeah.
Was there anything you
He
wanted
reached
to?
out to us.
Yeah.
Ben, right?
Ben
With
Yeah.
Green Box.
Yeah.
So over at Green Box, I think, I think he's looking for ways to increase the amount that's getting composted, and so he reached out to us, and we could still have him in here as a guest at a upcoming meeting. I haven't really, we had kind of the sustained day thing, and I think that's one step that we're planning to take. We could I didn't look too closely at this yet, or think about like how we would use Green Box, and I don't know that we're to the point of where we'd subsidize something like that.
Probably not. I mean, I think that would take some doing. But it's still an interesting program here. So they're starting off pretty small. So they've got 100 properties in the Village of Oregon, kind of first come, first served. So the first 100 residences that signed up received this service at that discounted rate of $13 per month, as opposed to $26, so they're getting half off.
What's the size of a bin?
I think it's 4 gallons.
4 gallons, okay.
Yeah,
So pretty small, yeah.
pretty small.
What happened with the sustained Dane project?
So we all had follow-ups, and so maybe we can talk about that under this agenda.
Yeah, definitely makes sense too. I was able to identify some funds that we could use. And I don't know if we heard back from Fitchburg Center, Promega.
I haven't heard back from Steven yet, so I need to follow up with him.
Okay.
Again, so that was to learn about, kind of the seat costs, could that be waived, for this program? And then, just trying to figure out their overall openness to us adding this program. So it's kind of where the inquiry's at. I just haven't gotten a response yet, and, so I'll need to follow up with him.
Ron, you were going to check on something else?
The grant people for ProMake, I haven't heard back from them yet, so. Do we have any idea what we would be asking for in terms of dollars?
I think she made it pretty clear that it was like $6,500.
$6,500,
Was gonna be our cost to run the
okay.
pilot for this fall, essentially.
Take whatever they could be willing to provide, I suppose.
Yeah, it would seem that they would be willing to donate something to that.
Yeah,
And, we may be able to save some more with not having to pay for a seat cost and that type of thing, so.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we can get this up and running.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send a follow-up, who was the person at ProMega you were?
So I'm talking with Stephen Leverins, but I'm already, in touch with him, so.
Well, I just want to let the grant person know that.
Oh, yeah, so if you look at my last,
Okay,
and I'll have, I can keep it in this one too,
Okay.
because I'll say that I still have to
Right.
follow up with him, so you'll just see his name in that.
okay.
Yeah, but anyways, this Green Box program, I think it'll be kind of interesting to see how this works in Oregon the next year. Basically, how many people want to continue with this program once it goes up to $26 a month.
There's somebody in Fitchburg using this program now, so,
I think you could sign up as a resident.
Yes.
yeah.
And that's kind of the thing. I don't, anyone is free to sign up for this individually right now. I guess it would be, $26 a month, or somewhere around that figure.
So, I mean, in a future article, when we, roll out something about the food scraps, like, we could give people other options too.
Yeah.
So you could, this could be mentioned and, he may get some signups, from that, people that say, oh, that's a good value for me, I'll choose to do that.
Do you know how often they pick up?
Every other Thursday in Oregon.
See, that and your, I'm gonna bring that up because in your RFP, you suggested, or Pelletary suggested a weekly collection.
Yes.
And maybe every other week would be more than enough.
Maybe that would be sufficient, yeah.
I think it depends on the time of year, like.
I was just thinking,
The winter, yeah, every other week.
maybe in the
could be good.
summertime,
Summer,
every week.
I don't know if I'd want mine sitting around for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Well, maybe everybody will be a vegetarian and it won't matter.
My vegetable waste gets pretty smelly.
Does it?
Yeah.
The biggest problem, so we've got a compost bucket next to our sink in the kitchen.
So do we.
And this time of year, we get a lot of little fruit fly larvae.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You open it up and it's just dotted with little white guys in there. We got
My wife, I put mine in the garage, no more in the kitchen.
No, I just got banned, so I just take food waste directly out to the compost bin.
Yeah.
Green Box, they did their due diligence and put together a little, presentation.
Yeah, we're gonna invite them to give a presentation to us.
We can invite them.
Yeah.
That could be, and we could do a tour as well, so like, we could go out and tour first.
Why don't we see what happens with Sustained Dane, because.
Yeah, let's focus on that for now.
Okay,
Put our energy into that and not get too many
yeah,
balls up in the air that we're juggling with food waste. We'll execute one and get that going, and then we can,
okay.
as we have more time to get other things going, then we can shift our attention to learning a little bit more about this and then maybe co-promoting them.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's just kind of the Green Box. There's another opportunity for reduced cost compost bins if we wanted to try to promote more at-home composting. The stormwater group that Fitchburg is a part of, MAM-SWAP, they have rain barrel sales where, they buy a bunch of rain barrels and they're able to sell them at a reduced cost. So, something like that, I think could potentially make sense. Milwaukee just worked with this company, Recycling Connections. They purchased a bunch of these home composters. Here's kind of a photo or a picture of it. And then they were able to, not give out, but sell at a reduced rate. I think, $60 or so to residents that were interested in it.
Does the Dane
Pretty
County,
impressive unit there.
was it Dane County that used to have a compost bin sale, or who was that?
Yeah, I think
that sounds.
Dane County, I'm sure they probably still do something like
Yeah.
that.
They're
We used
bad.
to promote it, but I don't know that we've promoted it for a while.
No, we haven't, and I don't think maybe Dane County doesn't do it anymore.
I'll have to look into that. These guys here are 128 gallons, so it's big for
That's fantastic.
$60-some dollars.
People in
That's,
there. You can put a couple of people in there.
yeah.
I don't know where I put that on my property.
I guess the problem is, where's the city going to store these?
Well, and I don't know how many residents would put 128.
128.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's-
significant.
Everybody can visualize what a 55-gallon drum is now. Imagine something a little more than twice that.
Yeah, the Dane County ones are,
I mean, just from that
Much
photo, you can tell
smaller.
how huge it is. I mean, it looks the part, but I don't know that I even have a spot.
I think it's kind of necessary if you wanted to actually compost. You need the
You need the size.
you need that size.
Yeah.
Mhm.
well, how tall is that, do you think?
I'm just looking at that person.
It's a little more stout than it is tall.
Yeah.
We have two of Dane counties in our yard, and they're never full. And I don't see the city stocking these. It would just be something that people would just order directly from,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, the benefit would be if the city ordered a bunch, they'd be able to sell them to residents for cheaper. That would be the only benefit of the thought that maybe if they can be made available at a lower cost, more people would be interested in purchasing them. Maybe this isn't something for Fitchburg to take on, but I'll have to check with some other communities and groups and see if they are still doing some kind of a home composting sale, and if not, if that's something they would consider doing again. I just think, that's kind of the best way to compost since you're not hauling things anywhere. There's not any, emissions associated with just chucking it in your backyard.
Actually, the dimensions are 30 inches by 32 inches. That's not that huge.
30 inches by 32?
They just look big.
Yeah.
I don't
That's-
think that can possibly be
That doesn't
128
that
gallons.
doesn't make sense.
A 55-gallon drum is big.
It said large capacity, 17 cubic feet, holds 125 gallons. Dimensions are 30 inches high by 32 inches in diameter. That's not that big.
Yeah, I don't know how it can claim 128 gallons unless we're misunderstanding that. Because that's 128 gallons is more than those dimensions, I would think.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that math doesn't quite seem to.
No.
I've seen enough. I know 55-gallon drums because I look at those all the time. And I know that those are like at least 2 feet in diameter.
2 feet diameter, yeah.
And then they're 3.5 feet
Feet
tall.
tall, yep.
I don't know what to tell you.
For something to be twice as big as that and have lesser dimensions than a 55-gallon drum, maybe we're not understanding it correctly.
Okay, we're about 15 minutes behind.
Okay. Well, maybe this is just another thing. I'll have to check in with some other communities and the county, see if this is something of interest to them.
Recycling Connections is legit. They're ones that are pretty prominent at the Wisconsin Integrated Resource Management Conference. And so, if they're putting their name on this and promoting it, there must be some, they must like the product quite a bit. So, I don't mean to dismiss the product at all. I just, I think we probably want to learn more about it, maybe have, somebody from the company present it, to us so we understand, what we would potentially be offering Fitchburg residents.
Sure.
I think we have other
We
things.
don't want to be giving them junk, either. Yeah,
Right.
Their steel kitchen pails are certainly appealing.
Yes, I was looking at that.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to sanitize than the plastic.
32 inches
I
in
have
diameter, 30 tall. That's
Not a little bit.
Oh, I have the plastic ones that the city used for that
not
trial.
17. It says 17.
It's impossible.
14.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like the steel one.
Maybe.
That's nice.
Okay.
The last thing I had on here was just, potential grant opportunity with the USDA. There's been several grant recipients for this program in Wisconsin. I saw Madison had one, La Crosse had one in the past. But it's a pretty broad grant opportunity. It's basically any kind of a project that can potentially, reduce food waste.
Well, it looks like they give out big money for projects. I mean, you look at the total amount and you look at the number of projects, over 1 million, but only 13 projects.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. That was in 2020. There must have been one very, very large. So most of the grants were between $50,000 and $100,000. Most of them closer to 50. But it's really any kind of a project or study or what have you that is aimed at reducing food waste. So, I was hoping I would be able to get a little bit more.
Who's the grant writer at the city that does this? Is that Bill or?
You don't have a grant or,
Yeah,
it
they're-
depends on the department.
Yeah,
That
could be
would
me,
you,
could
right?
be probably me.
I mean, federal grants aren't all that easy to do, so.
Well, and what would be the deadline? to
So they do it every year. I think the submission date the deadline this year was in September, so I don't know that I really have time to put together a great,
Yeah, we may not be in a position now, but it's something good to know about now, like, we may, as we're working towards a organics infrastructure system in Dane County, like, it may make sense the following year, so it's good to know about it.
And I was reading through some of these other past projects, and there was a lot of, there were some projects that kind of were focusing on, tying together these urban areas with these agricultural areas, and it just kind of made me think of, Robert Pierce's farm where Sustained Aim drops off the food scraps, and, there's all sorts of farmland in Fitchburg. Maybe there's another, farmer that would be interested in having food waste to use for their farm. That'd be awesome if there was,
I'm sure there probably is, I mean, we had like a pig farmer that we were taking our food waste out from elementary school
schools.
way back when.
Yeah.
So, with a little bit of, effort on that, like, I think we could identify.
Could be something to bring to, rural and ag affairs. Maybe someone has an idea of, a party that would be interested in trying something out. And that's kind of what I thought, this grant could be used for, if there was another local farmer or something that would
I think that would be great.
be interested in it. But yeah, just kind of not much more than a high level thought.
And I think, James Tinjum probably has some pretty good ideas on that front, and probably could come up with some ideas on organics.
Oh, yes, yeah, it could be a very good resource.
So, I think, let's keep it in front of us as an idea, and I think there's other grants out there that we could pursue as well on that front.
Especially if the Sustained Aim trial, if we get that going and that goes well, this would be great to do this.
And then, just real quickly, back in 2012, we did do a compost pilot here in Fitchburg. So we did collect from, I believe it was 200 or 300 residents for about a period of a year. And then that food waste was taken, or organics waste, mostly food waste, was taken up to the Columbia County composting unit that they had back then. But then there was, always the problem becomes there's too much contamination in the stream. So then it was taken to an anaerobic digester up in Oshkosh for a while. And it really wasn't making sense to haul our waste that far to do
Talk
that.
about carbon footprint.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I guess that can be it for the interest of time.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to agenda item 5E, Kent, bring your own bag event planning update.
All right.
You're the movie star of the day, so hope everyone got to see the video, Channel 3 News.
No, I didn't see that.
You should play it, it only takes like a minute or two.
Yeah, I'll
do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How did you know about that?
I sent it out today. in an email.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably very nice
Maybe.
video.
I said,
You don't have to-
reply back.
You don't
but-
have to log, I'll look at it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
You wanna?
Yeah, play it just a little over a minute. It's fun.
All right.
Yeah. I sent it to the mayor and she
Yeah, she
really liked it.
reached out to
She
me.
wants to do more.
Suspense.
I know.
This ad will close for me.
This ad will close in 3 seconds.
But take a look at this. Good morning, you guys. This is important because plastic breaks down into smaller pieces. They end up in our waterways, in our marine life, and inadvertently in us as consumers. You may not think this affects you, but take a look at this. These are images that I captured Saturday of Lake As bags and other single-use plastics break down into
I recognize
microplastics
those pictures.
that can be harmful to ourselves
We have all
and
those.
our environment.
That's
There's
one
multiple
idea.
ones.
According to the Oxford Martin Program on Global Development,
What are those
over the
things
last
that
2
one?
decades, global
Dishwasher
plastic
caps.
production
Ah,
has
okay.
doubled, now
What's
producing
your new
more than
connection?
50 million tons. It was very overwhelming when I started looking around the house and saying, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get rid of all of this stuff? It's just starting small. It doesn't have to
Kinda
be
creepy.
changes. Our family goes everywhere with our reusable coffee mugs and water bottles. Make sustainable choices. No plastic, and then I just pour it into my glass jar, and then I'm finding real refill options that come in aluminum or cardboard that are more sustainable and easier to recycle. Find alternatives. Just looking at additional ways to get rid of the plastic in your life and making those different choices. You know, you're gonna make a difference in the long run as you educate yourself and learn more about other options out there. It'll, you know, kind of start to take over. Plastic Free July. Are you up for the challenge? Get involved and just start making those small, sustainable swaps.
That's great. How did you connect?
Very nice.
Yeah, so here's the story. So obviously I wrote the article in the June Fitchburg Star, and she, Michelle Renee, reached out to me, or she sent me an email and said, hey, I'm with Channel 3 News, and I've read your article, and I'd love to do a story about plastic-free July and all of the sustainable swaps that you do at your home.
That's great.
And so luckily I had taken the day off, and we scheduled it, and she came and spent an hour and a half with me. And I mean, I told her about RCC and all of the events we do, and kind of this plastic group I'm involved with at work, and how we're, you know, during Plastic Free July, we're trying to coordinate some of these events. And she said, well, I'm gonna do a story, and then I will also put information on the website, and as you get information, like bring your own bag event, let me know and I'll update the website. And then she had just moved to Fitchburg, and she said she wanted, she loved this stuff, and so she's like, anytime you have an event, or anytime you're doing anything, you know, call me, I would love to cover it. And so then I was telling her about, you know, Sean's partnership with the Lions, and, you know, doing stuff with the plastic bags. And she's like, oh, that's great, I would love to cover that. And then I, you know, talked about all of the events we do, the waterway cleanups and stuff. So after she left my house, I guess on Saturday, she went to Monona Lake and shot those photos of the plastic and the lake, and then there was the bird that was sitting there. And so I was, you know, I had sent her an email and I said, that's exactly like what we're finding when we do our waterway cleanups every spring, and that's why we do it. And so she was going to run the story the Monday before the holiday weekend, and she said, we decided to hold it because it's a holiday weekend, not many people are around, and I really want people to see it. So then I got a message last night that, oh, it's gonna show up on this morning's news between 5 and 6 a.m. So I taped it, I got up that early and I watched it, and then she said it would repeat again this evening. I don't know if it did or not, but then she also, that's the shortened version that is on Channel 3000 for the website. And then I was telling her about the Bring Your Own Bag event, and I didn't have the date. Or I mean, I didn't have all the details laid out yet, but I got them confirmed today. So then I'll get back in touch with her, and she said that she would cover that.
Great.
So, yeah, it just kind of happened, and it was, yeah, so I got out all of my items, you know, and kind of like put them on the counter, and then afterwards I was like, oh, there were so many more I had, but they only have, you know, a certain amount of time to do it, so she had to, you know, kind of make it a more condensed.
Make your choice, right? You know.
Right. But she loves, you know, what we're doing, and she said, you know, you have my contact information, so.
Terrific.
Yeah, let me know when you guys are doing events, and I'd love to cover it, and.
Just don't tell her about the shred event.
No, I won't, yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, exactly, afterwards.
For that.
So then, just to kind of, for the Bring Your Own Bag event, I am working with some of the groups through my work. And we had talked about doing coordinated events through Plastic Free July. And so then I was like, well, I wanted to write this article to kind of highlight it and talk about it. So kind of what we have is I have scheduled our plastic bag, Bring Your Own Bag event for July 19th. It's a Friday from 10 to noon at the Fitchburg Hy-Vee. I have a new contact there. And I had shared with him all of the materials, you know, and I said it was 2018 was the last time we actually did an event. I went back and looked at the materials. It was 2018 the last time we did an event at Hy-Vee. Because we'd been doing it at
Doesn't
Pick and
seem like
Save.
that.
Well,
Yeah, because then we
Yeah.
hit
Pick and Save
COVID.
last year, right?
Well, September, we did Pick and Save, but prior to that, we had done Pick and Save as well.
oh, in 2019. probably.
Yeah, and I had also reached out to Target, talked to a person at Target, but they sent me to their corporate, you know, phone. I left a voice message, and I'm like, I'm never gonna hear back from them. So anyway, the great thing about that is in Eau Claire on the same day, that's why I picked this date, Eau Claire, Jonah Environmental Task Force is also doing a Bring Your Own Bag event on July 19th at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. So I thought that would be a good way to coordinate these efforts on the same date. We can like get some press coverage. And then they're gonna be another Bring Your Own Bag event in Ashland at the Super One Grocery.
The same day?
Not the same day, but towards the end of July. And then some of the other events that are taking place through some of these groups, we are part of the groups that we're working with, Milwaukee River Keepers. They're doing, they have volunteers running refill stations at their Chill on the Hill, a weekly outdoor musical festival. And then they also put together a plastic-free bingo card that they give out to everyone to participate, you know, kind of participate in the Plastic-Free July. And then, let's see, there is, July 11th in Eau Claire, they're doing, they have a summer recycling education event where they're getting people to pledge to be plastic-free. And so they've got some information on that. That's going to be happening on July 11th. And then I'm trying to get additional information from these groups because there are some other ones that are going to also be doing some additional events. So I thought we could also include this event that, you know, that we're going to be doing as well, kind of rolling that out as well as, you know, part of Plastic Free July. So hopefully there'll be some additional events. But Michelle said she would put all of this like on the website and kind of keep people up to date as well. So so I think there's lots of potential, and you know, it's like hopefully maybe every July this is what we can kind of start doing is start coming up with events every July for, you know, ways to be plastic free and kind of keep it going. So
Great, that's awesome.
So I'll keep everyone, I'm working with Ben on the logistics. I'm working with Hy-Vee on seeing if they would provide an incentive. So that's what I'm kind of waiting on. But Ben also said we have some bags left over that we can use to hand out to people who don't have bags. But hopefully we can promote it where people will be bringing their own bags and then getting an incentive.
The last time that we did it at Hy-Vee, if I remember correctly, they had a special on bags?
Yes, and I talked to him about that, so I'm waiting to hear back if he's gonna do it. He's like, I'm not sure if we'll do anything on the bags, and they also provided a coupon for custard or gelato,
Yeah.
something, gelato, that's what
That
it
was
was.
very
So
popular.
I sent that information to him and said, this is what we did in 2018, so it'd be great if you could offer up some sort of an incentive.
Or they did $5 off of purchase of 50.
Yes,
I think was maybe the other one that they,
Yeah.
they did.
I think they did that the first time that we were
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
It's good
I
to
would
say
love
we-
to help, but I'm out of town that day.
Okay, no problem.
What time was that again, on July
10 to noon on Friday, July 19th.
10 to noon? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a Friday?
Yeah.
I should be able to help out.
Okay, great.
It kind of related to this and plastic-free and stuff. Both the Pick and Save here in Fitchburg and Hy-Vee used to have bulk bins. And those got removed at the beginning of the pandemic. And I've been missing them.
Almost all the stores have eliminated bulk bins.
Yeah, Hy-Vee still doesn't have theirs either.
Festival eliminated it,
Willie's
Metcalf's
co-op.
eliminated it.
Right,
Yeah, there. That's on-
I wonder if we should, have some sort of a campaign to encourage the grocery stores to bring those back, because, like at Pick and Save, a lot of the stuff that you used to be able to get in bulk bins, now you can only get in these
I know.
disposable
Yeah.
plastic
And they're
containers.
tiny,
It's
so
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
well, I'll tell you, that Willie Street Co-op still has bulk.
Yes.
So-
Yes. And I did find I need to get more information on it. I'll find it and I'll send it out, but I did find a store over on the east side that also you can show up with your containers and fill stuff up. I haven't been there yet, but
That's what I do at Willie Street, I just
Yeah.
take my bags.
Yeah.
Plastic bags, but I'm reusing them.
well, and I think Whole Foods still has their
Bulk,
bulk.
really?
Yeah,
It'd be nice if there was a grocery store in
I know.
Fitchburg. That would
I
be-
know. We'll work on it. We'll work on
I want
it.
the co-op to be here. They have them east and west and north, but
I
nothing in
know.
the south.
Yes.
I
It's
know.
like,
That would
this
be
is a growing
nice.
area down here, so.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks, Kim, that's a
yeah.
lot of work.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. I think if you want to have any type of RCC community outreach with Sharon and I ahead of this event, like if we just need like a
Yeah.
20-minute powwow session
Yeah.
to help you out, like we can help, make social media or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
you need to do.
Yeah,
or-
definitely want to do that.
So if
Absolutely.
we want to organize that,
Yeah.
Can we get it on the cities?
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I had already talked to Ben and Jeremy had also mentioned that they would,
so it's coming up pretty quick, so
Yeah.
we probably
Yeah.
just need to,
I'll follow up with you, not tonight,
okay.
not after this meeting, but tomorrow.
Okay,
How about
fair
that?
You've got probably enough today. Watching TV.
5 AM.
Got 30 minutes to get caught up here, so go on to agenda item number 6, council update, Bill.
Yeah, not a lot of updates here. A couple of things of interest to the RCC, I think, would be ordinance change 2024-0-16, which removes car and truck wash from the business highway zoning. So you can no longer, if there's something zoned business highway, you can no longer put up just a car wash. It's gotta be a secondary use to a fueling station. So,
Why is
It
that?
can't be a standalone car wash.
cannot be a standalone car wash, correct. It's gotta be a
Because-
secondary use. I'm not entirely sure of the motivations, but it's not that, I mean, it takes up a lot of land and it doesn't generate a lot of, property tax revenue. And I don't know. Another ordinance change for a new development coming across the street from, on the north side of McKee, across from the Super Target area there, which is going to be, unfortunately, an area where we've got like an awful lot of parking.
Is this Wingram?
14, right, yeah, that's the development. I think they were projecting 14,000 new daily trips generated to that area,
Oh my.
which, I mean, economically, it's great. Environmentally, not so great. And there's one area in Terra Vesa that's gonna get 14 townhomes built on it on a bit over 1 acre. I think it's gonna result in about 12 dwelling units per acre there, which is right at the Transect 4 smart code limit, if that means anything to you. Then the only other thing is, I don't know if everybody saw that there's a new communications page on the city's website. So we could probably leverage that as well for any of our RCC communications.
Where would that be?
Actually, I think there's mention of it right now. If you look at fitchburgwi.gov and you scroll down to the Fitchburg announcements, the second one listed is the new communications webpage.
Oh, good.
Yes. That's all I've got for you.
So that's where you can put the Hy-Vee BYOB?
So I'm not 100% sure how this new communications webpage is gonna work. It's pretty new, so I know we'll at least put the BYOB event on the calendar.
Good. And the Facebook page?
And we'll do some social media.
Okay.
Potentially an interview about it as well.
Oh, maybe Kim can be a star.
Jeremy had reached out about it.
I mean, yeah, we'll do promotion on it just because it's with the plastic-free July, but like generally, like with, people are going to the grocery store and we're just we don't market those as heavy as we would like one of our events.
Because people are gonna be there no matter what.
Well, we used to have put an article in the Star, and then we would say,
Right.
I mean, we don't have enough time to do that now, so we did market it that way.
Right,
We
and we
just
do have
don't-
like a series
we
of
just-
like 5 social media posts that we could, repackage and use. So we have all those things and just needs a little bit of touch up to send back in.
All right, thanks, Bill. Okay, let's move on to agenda item 7, staff and commissioner updates.
Solid waste, of course, the big thing is, what we spent a good chunk of time talking on. I was able to identify some funding, if ProMega is amenable to allowing sustained aid to set up their collection site. We shouldn't have any issue there. I did get our lab analysis of the street sweepings that we sent in.
Not good?
Yeah, there were a couple, I think it was like manganese, sorry, and thallium were.
Valium?
Thallium. We're a little bit above the ceiling limit, so I was like thallium, that's like rat poison. I don't know where in our natural environment, brake dust,
Something we
whatever,
test in the water,
it was.
like around landfills. So.
Sure, I mean, it's very toxic.
There's
That
plenty
was
of
in the street
manganese
sweepings?
in groundwater, right?
What's that?
Plenty of manganese in
Yeah,
groundwater.
yeah, that's naturally occurring, and there's a pretty high ceiling level for that.
Contributes to our hardness.
And what percentage of thallium
Manganese.
was?
It was, I mean, low, it was just above the ceiling level, I mean, it wouldn't be.
It was just detected, right? It was it above?
It was above the ceiling level, yeah. So I sent those into DNR because, other than those couple of things, all the different chemicals that were tested for, were below these ceiling levels. So maybe, I don't know, I'll just have to get their opinion on it and see.
Do we know the route that it took?
So what we did, we had waited for the street sweeper to go around like a bunch of different spots of the city because we're supposed to try to get a representative sample. So we, mixed up a bunch of it and tried our best just to get one sample that would represent. So yeah, can't pinpoint it to any one location, but Yeah, maybe the beneficial reuse of the street sweepings, maybe, hit a little speed bump there.
Yeah.
So we'll see, there'll be more to come on that.
I mean, could it be used in construction then, or something like that?
You may be able to use it as a clean, as a fill if it was capped, but I'm not 100% sure what would be allowed. Stormwater, so we just held our kickoff meeting for the Fitchburg Road Goose Lake Stormwater Improvements Project. So that's gonna be underway with hopefully some sort of a design early next year sometime.
I haven't seen any flooding out there lately with all that rain we've been getting.
So, yeah, it's been interesting. The bike lanes had standing water, but the travel lanes were clear.
I was gonna ask, because that, the spillover from Goose Lake on the southwest of Goose Lake, that area is like,
It's
fully watered.
It's full of water.
Full.
Yeah, so if there are, big
More good
rainstorms.
might do it, huh?
Yeah, so we've got the high water signs at the ready, kind of anticipating.
Well, we had drought last year, so maybe it's.
Yeah. Well,
Did we have some roads that were flooded?
Fitchburg Road had a little bit of a flooding issue.
That's on McKee, right?
Fitchburg Road is kind of in the southern part of Fitchburg, southwest. It intersects with MM and Adams Road.
Yeah.
That's, Fitchburg Road is where Apple Garden is on,
Where's what?
the Apple Garden.
Okay. But I
Well,
remember
that's
somebody
not
said.
bad. I think that's really good. I don't know if you saw in the news, but, was it East Washington or West Washington was
East
flooded?
Wash was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, so kudos for the stormwater management of Fitchburg. That was a lot of rain.
You take the credit.
Stand up and take a bow.
No, there were no real actual flooding, property major.
Yeah.
There were, and I got it right here on the next one. We were kind of busy with responding to some inquiries regarding drainage issues, but it was more like nuisance kind of things,
From residential.
from residents, like my yard's wet and, just
I
kind of,
mean,
nothing like no one's, property was damaged.
Well, I would encourage you to also take out some kind of a announcement or notice in the Star advising people to clear out their storm sewer in front of near their house, because there's so much
There is.
debris,
Yeah.
for lack, I mean, I can think of a better word, but I'm not gonna say that.
Urban detritus?
And it really stops things up, so if they would just take a couple minutes and clear that out, that would help immensely with these rainfalls.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess I won't say there's no property damage. I saw some, shrubs and flowers kind of damaged from water going overland as kind of an overflow route through people's yards, but no one's home flooded that I know of.
The new stormwater upgrades that were done to the Sherrill Parkway, do we know how that performed?
Yeah, how did that work out?
During the
Oh.
event? Did you hear anything? If you didn't hear anything, it's
Yeah,
probably
so there's one resident that I've spoken to a couple times, and it sounds like it's much better. There haven't been, issues with inundated roads and, not being able to travel down it. So, yeah, it seems like it's working as intended, which it should be.
Well, part of Sherrill, right, just on the southwest side of McKee Farms Park is currently chewed up and is gonna be resurfaced.
Right, they're mills,
So
they're gonna mill an overlay there.
So there's less impervious surface than there had been and will be.
Let's see, we did get construction of the Greenway Cross, Eggman Road intersection, storm sewer extension project, so that's up in the north part of town off of Fish Hatchery. We just extended some storm sewer out to the next intersection. getting closer to finishing the TMDL water quality modeling project and the Crescent Road stormwater improvement project. That's another kind of flood relief project north of Dunn's Marsh. Let's see, I guess maybe some folks would be interested in this, but the Rock River Coalition is having their annual meeting. They call it the Confluence. It's going to be held at the Fitchburg Community Center on November 9th. So there'll be some speakers there kind of talking about, water quality, like climate change is going to be one of the big topics there. And it will be open to the public. So anyone that's interested is more than welcome to come by. Don't have all the details yet, but I'll share those as they come along. And yeah, we're still kind of working on this Yarmouth Greenway stream bank stabilization project. Seeing if Yahara Winds would be interested in contributing. I'm not so sure that they will, but we had some good conversations with them, and I think they would be more interested in contributing to a future project in the actual Nine Springs Creek. If there's enough interest from all the different stakeholders, Fitchburg, Madison, Dane County, MMSD, potentially doing some longer term projects out there in the future, which would be, I think, really exciting. So we'll see where that goes.
Ben,
What are the boundaries for that, or like where roughly are we talking about?
For the Yarmouth Greenway?
Yeah.
So that would be from the north side of PD, basically up to the golf course.
Okay, so
There's
it's all
that bike
north of
path.
PD. I was gonna say, because Trevorton Pike is where the end of the BRT station is gonna
Right.
be, and I didn't know if there was anything south of PD that, there might be something going on there as well.
Oh, sure. No, it'll all be north of
Okay.
PD.
What's going on north of the pickleball courts in McGaw Park? Is that a storm sewer thing, or what's that digging
North of the pickleball courts.
quite a bit north?
Was that the project we talked about
Pardon
a
me?
while back? Is that the project we talked about a while back? Or
I don't know.
Is that Highfield Reserve? There's a plat
There's
in
a-
that area.
There's a stormwater pond there.
No, this is huge. This is a lot of, there used to be, I'm not sure that that pond is still there. I think that this is, there's a lot of excavating going on there. It's,
So so here's the pickleball courts, and then,
okay, so,
so here's the pond.
oh, did I
which
say
is-
north? I meant
Yes.
south.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
that's probably the
It's gotta be Highfield.
the Highfield Reserve Development.
Oh, yeah.
So is that stormwater that's going in? This wasn't a house. This was like,
A major development.
Yeah, they're
Major
building
excavation.
roads and grading it for houses right now.
oh, okay.
So
Normally they'll start, you start with the stormwater management piece, so like before any roads go in or they start to grade the development.
And this is the third phase.
Construction is to get the stormwater management all set up before you even get going on it.
Yeah,
So that's probably what they did, and I think that's down in that corner off of Lacey and Cheryl Parkway. Potentially, is that where you're thinking? Or are you thinking, am I thinking of the wrong
No.
spot?
Yeah,
No,
that's different.
yeah,
Okay.
that's something else.
Okay.
This is like south of Nobel Drive, right?
Oh, that,
Kind of like
okay,
in the
out there.
This whole area is
It's the Viridian Homes
Yeah.
development.
But, I think the same concept.
Yes.
Liz, the
So where's the one that you just said? Cheryl
Liz.
Park and where?
Lacey Road,
Oh,
or sorry, not there,
Cheryl.
Lacey Road and, Sain Road. That's
Oh,
a big
is that-
development off that.
Oh, that's the hard time
Hard
going
Time,
in on
yeah.
the southeast corner.
Yep.
okay.
As long as we're talking about that, especially Highfield Reserve, the path that runs just north of most of that development goes east and then it heads up north and goes towards McGaw. There's a lot of water that stands on the trail after a rainfall. And then also the spur between the Capital City Trail and the Cannonball Trail just west of Longford Terrace there. There's standing water quite often there as well. So I don't know what sort of maintenance schedule those things are on, but if there could be a note put in there.
Yeah.
Is that you then, or is that
That's-
the bike and ped?
Yeah, that's more of a parks thing, I
Okay.
would say.
Okay.
But I will bring that to their attention. See if there's something that they just need to,
Well,
put a slope on that pavement, or if there's something more going on
the
there.
connector part, the second one that you mentioned, the ground is actually, I mean, it's oversaturated, it's just overrunning.
Yeah, there's like standing water
Oh, it's running
all the
water?
way across the
Yeah.
Okay.
path, yeah.
Not always, but we've had a lot of rain.
Quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I guess sustainability here, I'd hate to just read it verbatim, but that's what I'm gonna
You
do.
probably don't have to read it, we can read it. I
If
just
there's
have,
any highlights that you wanna
Let's
mention.
see, I'll just say, it sounds like the solar inverter issue is coming to a resolution here.
finally, good.
So did anyone send you the links to the draft sustainability plan?
No.
Okay, so we'll send you those.
Is that not going to be presented to RCC?
I'm not sure what the plan is.
Well, it looks like it's a presentation August 1 in the community center.
Well, we were told that it would be coming to us at different stages, and so far, we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan is. Maybe there's a thought that it would come to the August meeting. But anyways, I'll chat with Phil.
Yeah, okay.
I would have thought that we would see the draft before it's presented to the community, but
You
I
know,
guess not.
yeah,
If you get the
I'll
link
send you
to
the
it.
link too.
I like to look at it, yes.
And then the last one, so this is that solar app plus. This would be just basically like the permit process that residents would have to go through to get a permit to install solar. This kind of ties into the Soul Smart communities. I think there was one of the criteria, you have to be able to approve permits within some certain amount of time.
3 days
Yeah,
or something.
and this app will allow the city to do that. So I think if they end up, moving forward and adopting the solar app plus portal, which it sounds like they are, that'll be another box they can check off of the Soul Smart criteria. And yeah, that is it for sustainability.
Well, why don't they just keep the solar permit fee at the same in the city of, I mean, why are they passing that cost on to applicants?
I think I haven't tried this software, but I wonder if I'm a resident and I go and try to do this application, I just have to put in like a credit card or something to get to the next steps.
Well, then why doesn't the city reduce their permit fee?
From $350 to $325, so it stays at $350.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that.
why not?
I'm not Phil.
Well, food for thought, because that seems like the logical thing to do. I think we need to encourage, I mean, this is supposed to save the city so they can, they could qualify for this quick turnaround and stuff and supposedly give them some kind of an award. I think the city should absorb that.
Yeah, I'll bring that up with Phil and see what his thoughts are.
Okay, thanks, Ben. So let's move on to item 7D, activities being conducted or monitored by commissioners. I just got several things. We were supposed to have the USGS presentation this meeting, but we're moving it to September.
I think that'll be best.
Yeah, so let's look for September. Also, I won't be here for the August meeting. I'm gonna be out of the country on vacation, so I'll turn it over to you. So I'll be up here until the 7th, so After that, I won't have any connection anywhere. I'll be out where there's no connections.
Sounds great.
Yeah, can we come along?
We're flying into a wilderness area up in Canada, so.
Oh, Canada.
I won't have
Just
any
you and all your plastic food containers.
containers, yeah. Also, on McCoy Road, we were out, my wife and I were out cycling the other day, and we noticed that Fitchburg sign there. It's up on the hill, welcome to Fitchburg.
Yeah.
It's got growth all around it. It's just gonna cover it up soon. So I don't know who's responsible for trimming that up.
Sounds like a CETA thing.
Is that a Parks thing, or is that the guy?
Probably parks.
Okay. I don't know who takes care of our signs.
Probably parks.
No, I mean, it's been kind of, I know, not that that's a wet spot. I know what you're talking about, but like.
It's up on a hillside. It's not easy to get to, so I can see why it hasn't been trimmed for a while.
Just
I
go around.
think there's been a lot, some of that, we're having troubles with that in other places.
Yeah.
Where we haven't been able to mow because it's been too wet,
Yeah,
but,
And plus, they had a lot of trees that they had to take care of that came down.
right.
yeah.
All right, I have a real quick thing. So I went down to Peru. So it was part of the Madison sister city. I did a similar thing where I went to our sister city in the Gambia, helped them out with their waste management issues. So down in Cusco, Peru, I went down with the director of the Dane County Department of Waste and Renewables, and we checked out their situation for city hauling. So, I saw a garbage, we were eating dinner at 10 o'clock one evening and saw a garbage truck take off and go by our restaurant. So, of course, the two of us ran out of the restaurant, much to the chagrin of our wives, and watched the waste hauling operation. And to our surprise, it was about a 10-minute pickup. So they had a couple containers and some bags next to it. But everybody got out of the truck and they started to collect all the waste. And, and then they started to do their own separation. So they're pulling all the plastic bottles out curbside.
Oh my.
And so it took like 10 to 15 minutes to happen. And we're like, that process could be sped up quite a bit, and the city was paying for all of that.
Yeah.
And
What
so
were
I'm
they
like,
doing
imagine
with
if
the
all your house
plastics?
what?
What were they doing with the plastics that they were pulling out?
Well, there was a plastic bit, they were taking plastic bottles out, so like plastic water bottles. And then those were, like, there was a private recycler that was handling those.
Okay.
But it was kind of this side business, and I didn't understand why the municipality was paying for all their time to do that. Because they're like, well, we're constantly collecting, we're collecting 24/7. I'm like, well, you wouldn't need to if you had more collection containers. So this was part of our feedback that we gave to the city while we were there. So that was some immediate feedback, but we were really impressed with the team that they had at the landfill. The landfill was being managed pretty well. Their issue is that they don't have enough cost to cover their operations, and so they want to do a landfill gas to electricity project. And so one of the things we might help out with is the feasibility of making that happen. That's where they have a knowledge gap, but they're doing a lot of other things really well. So it was pretty impressive. The landfill was at 13,000 feet in elevation.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty high up. So I was a little winded walking around up there, but they had quite a team there. We were really impressed with it. And they're asking, well, do you think it's a possibility that we could collect the landfill gas to energy here? And I said, well, it's 30% organics in the United States with our waste, and we have, sufficient landfill gas. Down there, they said, our composition is 60% organics.
Oh boy.
And
So, yeah, potentially more gas, but on the other hand, 13,000 feet of elevation, the temperature is probably a bit lower, and so things move a little slower at that elevation, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's things that I think that's why the feasibility study is the next step to kind of figure out some of those components, like in how thick is the waste, do you have the degradation happening in there? And, I was afraid it was too thin, but they're like, it's 40 meters thick on average, up to 60 meters, which is like 120 to 160 feet, which is thicker than we have at the Dane County landfill. So that's what we learned. We'll see where it goes from here, but it might be a nice, connection between our sister city down in Cusco, and it's a pretty cool place. It's kind of the gateway to go to Machu Picchu, which we were able to go and check out, so that was pretty neat too. So.
Nice.
That's very cool.
And they're recycling, so that's a good deal.
Yeah.
At least
Not
some
the right
things.
way, just not in the most efficient way.
Yeah.
Are they keeping people employed? Is that one of the things why they do it that way, or?
Well, I feel like it's a private company that's kind of doing that, but they're paying them out of city wages, so like, it was we gotta learn a little bit more information about it, but
So it's all commingled, they don't even try to have people separate their recyclables from.
generally not, but like in some of the public places like the plazas that we did see like these, you know, what they did do a good job of is they had like, you know, their plastic bottles were being recycled in containers that were very see-through, so like
Oh, yeah.
it's very visible to people that that's what it's
What
containing is
the
plastic
contamination,
bottles.
Yeah.
And they did have a lot of signage, and you know, even in some remote schools, we saw like composting and recycling. I'm like, oh, we don't even have that in the Madison schools. Like, how do they have this in this remote village? So they have some, you know, good intention there. I think we probably just need a little bit more structure and, you know, some insights on some of the things they're struggling with.
Great.
So your dinner got cold.
We were already done. We were just waiting for the bill.
Winter when you're down there, though.
What?
Right? It's winter time when you're down there.
Yeah, but a different, I mean, not our time.
Moderate.
Yeah. About 13,000 feet.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else?
9:01.
9 o'clock, so.
Good job, Kim.
Yeah, good job, Ken.
Uh,
Thank you, everyone.
I have something.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
I'm still here. I just want to say thank you to Diane for helping me through my article, because I know I'm not much of a writer, so it's greatly appreciated.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I read it afterwards, but it looked good to me, so.
A lot of the stuff was like in my head, and I just need to do a better job of explaining it, you know, because I see it day in and day out, so, you know.
Yeah, you're too close to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, good, it'll be an interesting article for people to read. Good job.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
Well,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much.
Who wins next month? Fitchburg Star. Is that Jim?
I don't know.
I think so.
I think it's Jim, yes.
Yeah, I think it's Jim. I was just looking at it.
Okay.
I thought you were looking at a bee flying around.
He knows the deadline to get it in, right?
He might need a reminder.
Yeah, I would send him a reminder.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you were on for the next month, Ron. Wait, is that the month you're going to be gone?
I think I've got a.
Yeah, September.
Okay, September, okay.
All right.
Very good. Was somebody gonna do something on food waste? We talked about doing a Pittsburgh Star article, or?
I was.
That's what
something I could
happens when
maybe
we
do
get
at some
sketchy
point.
notes.
Okay,
As we get rolling.
yeah.
We haven't done anything on water conservation for a while. So maybe next summer, that would be a good thing to think about,
Water preservation?
water
Oh,
conservation.
conservation.
not a big deal this year. 'Cause we
No.
have a crowd here.
No, but I can't,
Move a second and vote to adjourn?
oh, you just have to say we're adjourned.
Yeah, we're adjourned, yeah, I said that at 9 o'clock, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Adjourned.